Good morning, everyone. Can we hear me? Can we see me? As everyone, I think we are good to go. Okay, so thank you guys so much for joining us this morning. I'm just going to give you guys a couple of housekeeping rules before we kick off. But yes, if everyone can introduce themselves in the chat, that would be amazing. We'd love to see who's here today. We also have a Q&A section, which is different to the chat, but there you can basically ask any questions you have throughout the session, and then we will answer them at the end. And then lastly, we are recording the event. So we will be putting it up on YouTube later, which you guys can share with your colleagues. But yes, thank you guys so much again for joining us. So I'm May. I am one of the co-founders of Eric. And for those who might not know who Eric is, we are the leading creative careers app. We are the go-to platform for 16 to 25-year-olds, otherwise known as Gen Z, who are looking to enter the creative industries. It's amazing to see, so many familiar names here. We've got Lottie, I see, from Bandstand. Who else do we have here? We've got the Believe team, which is great. We've got Sarah, Tracy from ITV. Oh, yeah.
There's still a couple of issues with your screen, just FYI. There's still a few boxes kind of hanging over. So I don't know. Every time
Wait, can you see it now?
No, it's all gone. Yeah, that's
Okay.
great.
No, don't worry.
No worries.
Amazing. Thanks, Sam. But yes, I think I know what the issue is. But yes, basically, so nice to see you all. And I really love doing these sessions because I know that everyone here genuinely cares and is super passionate about helping the next generation break into the creative industries. So whether you're from talent teams trying to attract new and diverse talent, or student recruitment teams trying to attract prospective students, or outreach teams aiming to reach underrepresented audiences, but we all face the same issue, which is Gen Z are completely different from us. They think differently, they have unique values, but most importantly, they communicate differently. And they also prefer to be communicated in new ways. And traditional methods, terminology, platforms, they're no longer resonating with this younger generation because it's changing so quickly, and it's often really hard to keep up with the latest trends. So if you guys want to reach the hard to reach, you really need to learn new ways to communicate, to start authentically connecting with the audiences you're trying to reach. And that is why Eric is here. So at Eric, we are the experts at marketing career opportunities to Gen Z, and specifically as well within the creative industries. Not only have Sam and I been doing this for nearly 10 years, but majority of our team, this is the beautiful Eric team, they are all Gen Z themselves. So we know exactly how they think because we are them. And the average age of our team is actually 26. But our credibility really speaks for itself. We launched the Eric app just under 2 years ago, and today we have over 120,000 app downloads. But we don't just have the numbers, we also know how to capture their attention, and Gen Z trust us. Our success on TikTok really kind of reflects this, with millions of views, nearly 1 million likes, tens of thousands of followers, and thousands of comments. And our hope is that you leave today feeling just a little bit more confident in your Gen Z engagement strategies, and perhaps even spread the word about the amazing work we do at Eric. So running order of today is that first, we're going to dive into Eric's, we're going to dive into Eric's 5-step strategy. I'm then going to give you just a quick demo of the Eric platform and some of our features, just to show you how easy it is to implement the strategy right away. And then finally, we're going to close with a Q&A session. So definitely, like I said, get your questions in the Q&A chat if you have a question at any point. Okay, so let's dive in to the strategy. So we at Eric have developed this 5-step Gen Z strategy because we understand that while the intention to engage with Gen Z is there, it is often hard to know where to start, what to create, and which platforms to use, especially when you have limited time and resources. And this uncertainty can mean that you guys go back to what you already know, but hoping for different results. So we are here to show you that thinking in new and effective ways is doable, and all it takes is following a structured process, which we promise is much easier than you think. Okay, so number 1 is identify and understand your target audience. So first of all, it is really important to not treat all Gen Z as the same. Gen Z are incredibly diverse with a wide range of interests, behaviors, and preferences. And this diversity means that to effectively connect with them, you need to define and understand the mindset of who you're trying to reach. Don't try and talk to everyone all at once. And this is really crucial because a one-size-fits-all approach simply doesn't work. And unfortunately, we do see a lot of organizations taking this approach. You guys all bring very unique perspectives and also industry knowledge. So really lean into that and start understanding how you can stand out by connecting through issues that both you and your target audience care about. So, for example, if you are in the talent acquisition team, you have a wealth of knowledge about some of the mistakes that Gen Z are making, for example, in their interviews or CVs or cover letters. So your guidance around that is incredibly valuable and relevant to Gen Z. And particularly when it comes to like industry specific advice, for example, what differences exist between what the advertising industry seeks in a CV versus what the publishing industry looks for in a CV. Or if you're part of the student marketing team, you know, try and consider questions that students frequently ask. So, you know, what are their common concerns about higher education, university fees, etc., and how can you position yourself as the expert to address some of these issues? So one of the best ways to do this and really hear directly from your target audience is organizing things like focus groups, surveys, or online events, because these can really provide that invaluable insight. We have a few examples here of what other organizations have promoted on Eric. So, for example, Access VFX, they are really trying to kind of educate young people about the VFX industry. And they basically put out a kind of ask AMA thing. So young people could ask their questions, and then Access VFX found a load of industry kind of experts, got them to answer the questions, and then they turned it into a podcast. So that's like a really nice example. The BBC, they were hosting, or they wanted to deliver a huge festival for young people on getting into the theatre industry. And before they did that, they knew that they needed to ask young people actually what they wanted to see. So they put out a survey, and it got over 1,000 young people actually filling that survey in. And they simply just had a small monetary prize for, you know, one person. Talk 20s, they were creating a report to show data on relationships, loneliness, job satisfaction. And again, so they put out a survey on Eric. And loads of young people were really happy to take part, as they wanted to make sure that their generation is understood and accurately represented. So it is really easy to just talk to your audience, and it doesn't have to be a kind of big process. So one of our partners, which I think is here in the audience today, so Lottie from Bandstand, we just wanted to basically give them a shout out, because Bandstand have done a phenomenal job at really understanding, or trying to understand, their target audience, and then creating some amazing resources off the back. They're a small team, but really incredibly passionate about diversity and supporting young people into the advertising industry. So some of the things, just to give you guys an example, they did a YouTube live session called Ask Anything You Want to Know about the ad industry. They've done a couple of articles as well. So how to nail an interview at a creative agency, which we love because it's so specific to creative agencies. They also did one on ever heard of this advertising role. So trying to, again, help young people realize that there is loads of different roles in advertising, and actually maybe they only know a handful. And then lastly, how to pitch your ideas with confidence. So again, it's like leaning into knowing that one of the things that young people do struggle with is confidence. So these are just great examples of, how your organization can also be doing the same, and you all will be so kind of bringing unique perspectives that you're not really saying the same thing either. Everyone has something unique and different to bring to the table. So that is step one. Identify and understand your audience, which moves on nicely to step two. Because now that you know who your target audience is and you understand some of the challenges that they face, it is time to now create or repurpose some of the content that will genuinely help them. And content marketing is not just a trend. It is a strategy that is going to be here for a very, very, very long time. And so businesses really need to understand how to get their content marketing correct, especially when it comes to the younger generation. What we love about content as well is it's also much less time consuming than creating something like a 6-month internship program, or attending physical events, or even just going out and speaking at schools or universities. But one of the biggest questions that we get all the time is how is actually knowing what content to create. So what is high quality content? So the secret is that the content must add value. It should be informative, it should be educational, or it should be entertaining. And it really needs to address your audience's needs and interests. So think about the challenges that you've identified in step one, and then how can you provide solutions or insights? So we have just got a few examples of some of our team's favorite and most popular content on the Eric app from some of our partners. So this one is by the FT. So the team at FT, they put on an online session that helps prepare young people for their first interview. It was online, so a really kind of effective way. And it was just a really nice kind of simple way to support young audiences, and also focus on something that the FT knows very well, interviews. And I think the FT realized that through their own kind of process, that interviews was clearly an area that young people were struggling in. So yeah, we love that online session. The next one is quite simple but really effective. And we love this one because you know exactly what you're going to get from the title. So Stooky is a jewelry brand, and they basically created this article, land a role in social media with these top tips. So it speaks directly to an entry-level audience. It's also focusing on a topic that Stooky know really well, which is social media. So it's very kind of targeted and niche. And social media is also a role that they often hire for. So it makes sense to give advice on areas that they will need. The third example is this piece of content by School of Communication Arts. So they are a specialist educator in the advertising industry. And we love this one because it actually is just answering a common question that many young people have. Is a university course worth it, basically? And so it's a really great, easy way for SEA to kind of highlight what they do, who they are, and showcase that there are alternatives to university. And then lastly, we love this toolkit from Escape Studios. So they are a VFX gaming and animation educator. And what we love about this toolkit is that it's actually designed to help everyone and anyone. So it is quite broad. But then within the guide and within the toolkit, they are able to then educate people specifically on what their industry, all the industries that they focus on. So VFX, games, animation, etc. So it's kind of like attracting everyone in something that everyone is interested in, and then within it, kind of targeting people on the industries that they want to focus on. So hopefully by sharing some of these content ideas, it has sparked your own ideas and proven that there is so much more that you can do when creating your own content. So that is step 2. Step 3, don't forget the basics. Okay, so this step is incredibly important, but often overlooked because you don't want to create all of this amazing content, spend time creating an internship scheme, but only to fall at the last hurdle by not effectively communicating it and forgetting the basics. Because remember that Gen Z are often starting out in their career journey. So really making the effort to provide them with the right information shows that you care. Eric promotes hundreds of opportunities and content. So we really see firsthand how many organizations forget this. And poor communication is essentially turning Gen Z off. So last week, we got to meet thousands of young people at the UK Creative Festival in Margate. And we basically went around and asked them what turns them off when applying to early career opportunities. So we're going to play just a really short video to give you a flavour of what some of the Gen Z had to say.
Like, what kind of things make you think, no, I don't want to apply, stuff like that?
1, when they don't post the salary. 2, when they list a bunch of jobs which are way out of the job title. And 3, I think when they ask you to come in the office all the time, I think it's 21st century.
Yeah, definitely.
Looks completely generated AI content, and when there's too much writing in there, I just want like a simple, like plain context thing of what's going to happen.
Lack of benefits, workplace benefits are like huge, and just not being able to display the company culture. And also salary, not displaying a salary is like a huge ick for me.
When they say it's entry level, but say that you need like 2 years experience, it just turns me off straight away. So
probably not something they're saying. I think just more a lack of information. If it's like, it seems quite vague, and I don't know, like they're not overly serious about like what they're saying, that's a turn off, because it's like, is it just, are they wanting anyone or me, basically?
So hopefully that shows that we're not making it up ourselves, and that Gen Z basically, they are noticing things, especially when it comes to that, basic information. So hopefully that just gives you guys a flavor of what Gen Z are thinking. And to help you with this, we have created an Eric checklist for you guys to refer to when you are creating things like job descriptions, event descriptions, course descriptions, mentoring, training scheme, all of the above. So definitely take a picture of this, share that with your teams, because you'll be surprised at how many organizations honestly forget key details. So things just like, you know, when does the application end? What is the deadline? When does the role start? Or when does the role end? Eligibility, you know, things like, again, salary. We heard from a couple of people there earlier. Salary is the number one thing that we know that young people want, and putting things like competitive as well is not okay because no one actually knows what that means. But it also just means like saving time for you as well, because you don't want wrong people applying for your opportunities. We often hear that, you know, young people go through the whole application process only to find that at the end they're not eligible. So it's really, really important just to make the user experience as good as it can be on both sides, and hopefully make everything a little bit easier. So don't forget step 4, remember the basics. Sorry, step 3, remember the basics. Okay, so step 4, look at the data. So we all maybe know and love the word data, but what metrics should you guys as organizations be looking at and tracking to gauge your success? Because there are so many metrics that I'm sure many of you are looking at and tracking through various channels and platforms, and it can be really overwhelming. So what we wanted to do at Eric is really simplify this by focusing on just 3 key engagement metrics. So we have unique views, clicks, and saves. So unique views is basically how many people are clicking to view your content or opportunity. And it's really crucial to look at unique views, because a lot of platforms count all traffic, all impressions, which aren't unique. So unique views really give you a clearer picture of your direct engagement and impact. We then have clicks, which again is also unique, and this measures the effectiveness of your content. So after viewing, have people actually clicked through to read more? Because if they haven't, you can see that there's a potential issue. And then saves is also a great metric, especially when it comes to content resources, because it really indicates that people have found your material really, really valuable, enough to revisit later, or maybe enough to save it later to share with a friend. So by looking at the right data and understanding how to interpret it, you can then continuously improve your engagement strategies and achieve better results. So another one of Eric's partners that we wanted to highlight is Penguin Books. So they are one of the biggest publishers in the world. They have loads of amazing early career opportunities. And when they looked at the data, they noticed that a lot of the applications weren't very good. They weren't as good as they could be. And it was really clear that young people maybe aren't being told the basics of how to apply, what to say, all of those things. So to fix this, Penguin created content and resources to help young people during the application process. So they made things like how to smash an interview at Penguin. They created a little article on how to write a killer cover letter in publishing, because again, they saw that some of the cover letters were so vague. They weren't actually specific enough to publishing. And they also created a guide on their website explaining how a book is made, because a lot of young people actually didn't even know the basics of publishing. And then the smart part is that they linked all of these resources in all of their internship and entry-level job posts. So people were able to see all of these resources as they were applying. And some of these resources are the most popular content on the Eric app, and they've also inspired other brands to do the same. So hopefully it has also inspired you guys. And as I mentioned before, each of you are so unique. and that what one talent team looks for might differ from another. So we really need to work together to upskill young people and create an inclusive environment where everyone has the chance to improve and enter the creative industries. Okay, so we are on to the final last step, repeat and stay consistent. So consistency is crucial. Regular interactions really keep your audience interested and invested and will keep you guys top of mind. So it's really important to keep showing up and maintaining a steady presence in your audience's lives. But we know, again, that you guys have very limited time and resources. We totally get it. So what we've done is just created a few simple hacks and trends that we know work. So number one is create evergreen content. Content that basically doesn't expire is a really easy way to stay consistent. Things like toolkits, which I showed earlier as an example, the Escape Studios toolkit. That's a really good example of evergreen content. Again, for example, the Penguin one, how a book is made, that's not ever going to change. And that can keep kind of giving to more and more and more young people. Secondly, involve your students, but also involve your Gen Z employees. Get them helping you to create content because they, again, know who your audience are. They also know some of the challenges that maybe they faced when they were trying to get into the industry. And peer-to-peer advice is always the best. Also, if you do get them to create things, they can then use that as experience to put on their CV. So it's just a really nice way to get them involved. And then lastly, work with Gen Z partners. So there are hundreds of Gen Z partners who can support in all areas of the kind of Gen Z engagement recruitment funnel. So we really, I guess, encourage you guys to go out there and have a look and see who's there. We have loads of partners that we can recommend. So if you did have something specific that you're looking to improve, definitely get in touch and we can recommend a few Gen Z partners because they really do understand how to speak to your audience and they can also make sure that you're delivering consistently. So that is the 5-step strategy. And hopefully this has just given you guys a little bit of confidence and direction on how your organization can start improving your Gen Z engagement. I know that is a lot to take in. And you're probably thinking, this all sounds really great, but I don't have time to do any of it. Well, that is exactly where Eric's platform can help. So before the Q&A, I'm just going to give you a really quick demo of some of Eric's portal features and also how basically your organizations can implement this 5-step strategy effortlessly. So first of all, if you do not have a profile, a company profile on Eric, it is completely free to get one. So definitely sign up here. I think Will's going to put the link in the chat or you can scan the QR code. But yeah, literally nothing to lose. So number one, sign up your company onto the Eric portal. It's super easy to, here are some of our beautiful partners as well. It's super easy to create your profile. All you need to do is just fill in the details. So add your logo, add what you do, link up some of your team. So honestly, you can do that in like less than 5 minutes. And then you will be visible to hundreds of thousands of Gen Zers immediately. Once the profile is set up, you can then start creating, sharing, promoting your content and also your entry-level opportunities. So for example, if you have a marketing internship coming up, you can promote that straight away on your Eric profile, and you can even target specific groups or users in certain locations. So for example, if you have a marketing internship in Manchester, you can actually use the targeted tags to ensure that only users interested in marketing and based in Manchester will see it. If you don't have any entry-level opportunities right now, content, like I was saying earlier, I'm banging on about content, events. These are really great, easy ways for you to stay engaged. So Eric's content tools really help you create things like articles. You can link to your existing articles on your website, existing videos, TikTok videos, YouTube videos. If you have a podcast, for example, you can also link that. And yeah, you can even host YouTube lives. So there's so much there that you can do. And then the best part is that we have an in-house Gen Z expert content team. So they are here to actually help you with all of that. So help you with copywriting, help you with content ideas, help you with imagery, also helping you ensure that everything you do is inclusive. And so they review everything that you upload. And then they help you make sure that it makes sense and it makes sense to the audience that you were trying to attract. And in the portal, it's just a really easy section where you can choose whether or not you do want support from our experts. So it's not a mandatory thing, but they are there to support you along the way. And then finally, we gather the data for you. So on your custom dashboard, you can track things like unique views, clicks, and saves, helping you really pinpoint what is effective and maybe what's not. So you can really focus on doing more of what works best. So as I said, I really hope that today you will leave just feeling a little bit more confident in your Gen Z engagement. And finally, if you do like what you heard today and you want more, there are two things that you can do immediately. So number one is we have our Eric LinkedIn. So if you follow Eric on LinkedIn, we share more case studies on what other organizations are doing. We also share league tables of the most popular content opportunities on the app. So loads of great kind of resources there. And then on our newsletter, which Will's gonna, I think, put in the link as well. This is more around giving you guys regular Gen Z insights. So more kind of sound bites from Gen Z, along with tips, tricks on how to engage with them more effectively. So thank you guys so much. Sorry for the tech issue earlier, but I'm now going to open it up to any of your Q&A questions. I need to actually, because I've hidden the box now, so I can't see anything.
So we do have a question,
Ooh.
Maz. Do you have statistics on engagement with different types of content, e.g. podcasts, articles, competitions, online events from anonymous attendee?
Yes, we do. And that's something that we are really, that we really want to share is the benchmarks to know, how do you know if you're doing good or bad? So we do actually have our last Insights event, if you weren't able to go to, we did create a whole kind of benchmark PDF thing that we can email round after this session, which gives all of the benchmarks. It also breaks it down into the different industries as well. So if you do have a podcast for the music industry versus a podcast for the advertising industry, you can also see the different benchmarks for that.